Okay, good morning. It is January 7th, 2026. This is Debbie Davis. Okay, several things. Okay, because I've done a couple of videos regarding some things that happened right at a local church that I'll kind of explain, and then some other things that I wanted to get into that, I think there has been some progress on local levels. So, because a lot of eyes on things happening here, and I think we are making progress on local levels on certain things, so that's good. But because just to give you an example of just to kind of explain what's going on is I had a situation here just at a local church. Just explain it, to kind of give people more of an understanding of why I feel upset about this. I would walk by this place, New Creation Church, okay, and then there was this guy who was doing the landscaping, okay, and he would always try to talk to me, and and it seemed like he was trying to get I was asking me for my name, okay. I as a whistleblower and stuff like that, I have to be careful with that type of thing. I am in danger, and I have been for years, okay. Clearly, whistleblowers, we have to be more aware and more we have to, and I didn't feel safe giving my name. They would always try to talk to me when I would walk by, and to the point where I felt uncomfortable. Okay, and then apparently he goes to the church. Then I would see him in the church. His name is Jim Mullen, I believe. He owns this landscaping company. Okay, then so then it seemed like he was like literally walking around, seeing who I was talking to in the church. Okay, then, and it was like, it wasn't just, some of the time, it was like every time I was there. Okay, then the last time what happened is I'm in the service, and it was packed, and the only place to sit was in front of him. Okay, so I'm sitting in front of him. It's the same guy. Okay, and for some reason, I started getting super, super sick to my stomach right in church, okay. And I look behind me, and I see him with some kind of a device. It looked kind of like a phone, but it wasn't a phone, okay. And now I've talked to my friend Alice since then, and she said it was probably a Raytheon. It's called a Raven's Claw, and these are like handheld devices, okay. They can point them at you, and they're scalar wave weapons, okay. And I had to leave church. And now, and so, that was really the final kicker for me. And you have somebody that's dangerous, that actually has a weapon in using a weapon on me in church. Well, I think that kind of crosses a line, because I know it wasn't a phone. It was some kind of other weapon. Okay. Then I had, a few months back. So yeah, I'm very upset, as you can imagine. Because, I talked to Alice Dark, and she knows what these devices look like. Okay, and I'm going to call her. But then I had a situation here at this hotel a few months back. Now, this was regarding this other guy now. There's this other guy a few months back that I have him, videotape of him in his truck. Okay, and he would be out there. It would be like several nights in a row. Okay, several nights in a row. He was out there. It seemed like he was recording me. He would record me as I walked by with my dog. And it seemed like he was recording other women too, like a stalker. Like a stalker. Okay, and this wasn't on the hotel property. It was right off the hotel property. So I went over, and when I was walking one day, and I said, can you please leave? You're making all the women here uncomfortable. This is like, to me, this was like a stalking situation. He was recording. He was watching myself and other women. Okay, that's if you're allowing stalkers to stalk your guests at a hotel, you're endangering our lives. Okay, you're endangering people. In this. And then I've never met this guy before in my life. And then he comes out, and I said, can you leave now? And he said, oh, I already talked to Maria about you. Excuse me? First of all, how do you know who I am? Okay. Second of all, what is it that you're trying to say to Maria? I don't. All I do is I stay in the room and I work on my own projects. I read books. I'm not endangering anybody. So what is it that you said to Maria exactly? So I tried reporting him to the front desk. This other woman named Amanda, and she said, "Oh no, he's friends with the hotel. He's stayed here before." I was like, "Oh well, so that makes it okay that he's illegally recording people here and illegally stalking people." And so they didn't do anything about it. So that was one thing. This happened several months back. And you are, so basically they're endangering myself and other women that he was stalking. Okay. Then I also saw him not only outside the hotel, I saw him in the lobby a few times, and he was stalking me. He was stalking me. He was watching where I was going, what room I was in, let's say, that type of thing. Okay. I don't know for sure who he is, but now he's over here, and now he's actually staying here. Now he's actually staying here in a room just a couple doors down. And what happened is I walked by him in the hall a couple nights ago, and he had the same type of device that I saw this gym guy have in church. Okay, it looked kind of like a phone, but it wasn't a phone. And when I walked by, it jammed my phone. And he pointed it right at me. It was some kind of a weapon he pointed at me in the hallway here. He is endangering my life here. Okay, and I tried reporting this stuff to the hotel, and then they try to say that I'm somehow making a scene and that I'm illegally recording. I wasn't recording him. My phone jammed. I couldn't record anything. My phone completely jammed. So now they're trying to completely make up a story in cahoots with this guy, saying I'm illegally recording, I'm harassing people, when I am the one completely being endangered here and being harassed. Okay, so this is what I have going on, and this is a situation that I have had to encounter with landlords, with hotels, different things for years now. And like I said, I have the videos of me myself and my roommate in my last place, trying to record my last landlord who was abusing people there. We had sewer water going up, that you can't take a shower in sewer water, and he never got it fixed. There was no accountability of the fair housing department of any kind in this state. And once again, here I am in danger, and they're trying to turn it around on me. And that's what Hector would try to do too. He would try to turn it around on us and try to get us kicked out. That's what we had to deal with. It was never addressed properly. People would just end up leaving because nobody is handling these fair housing, these abusive living environment complaints properly in this state. There has to be some kind of agency, because Tim Walz's offices aren't working. Okay, his state offices aren't working. When I have it all on recording. When I tried calling the fair housing department, they said, nobody can answer your call right now. We're handling the complaints for 5 other states. Okay, so you got all kinds of people in this state that are in dangerous situations, like myself, have been for years, that are not getting help. Okay, and it has to stop. Okay, so now I'm in a situation where they're trying to turn this whole thing around on me when I'm the one in danger. I don't, whatever he had in his hand walking by me was not a cell phone. It was some kind of weapon, and it jammed my phone. And I go, "Oh, really? You think I'm illegally recording people? Where's your footage? Where's your footage?" So they're trying to make this big scene up last night. Where's your footage? Of course they don't have any footage. Just like the criminal cops. They have no footage, and they file false complaints against you, and they get away with it. Well, this kind of thing has to stop, because I haven't done anything. I am the one in danger. I have footage of him illegally stalking me for hours, sitting in his truck. Okay, and other people. Okay, and they're trying to make up all this stuff like I'm harassing other people. No, we are the one that have been harassed by other people here, and I have proof from other people that live here that I've been harassed. Okay, So that's really interesting that you're going to try to turn it around. But this is not the first time this has happened to me. It's happened to me over and over and over again in these unsafe living environments and unsafe hotels, and unsafe landlords need to be addressed properly for once in this state, so people can live safely for once. And it's not happening right now. Okay, so I'm very upset right now about all this crap, because it's just gone on and on and on for years for me. Okay, but the other thing I wanted to talk about is, okay, so there is they were building this okay, so like I said, I don't really know much about this pastor here, the local pastor here, but I did bring up to somebody that in the church that I felt this guy was stalking me, and they didn't do anything about it. So, I don't know what to say. That's, you can't let somebody feel like they're being stalked by somebody in your church. Okay. And I shouldn't have to feel unsafe just going to a church. Okay. And I wasn't doing anything. I've attended a Bible study there. I wasn't doing anything to anybody. You are outright allowing somebody to harass me in a church, in a God's sanctuary, and you call yourself, some kind of a pastor that allows that. I really don't even know what to say. It's so not okay. You're clearly, God, and I like the other pastor, Pastor Sam from Africa. Okay. But, and I went there, the other day to try to hear him, and, it was just, once again, I didn't even feel safe being in the church. Okay. I didn't feel safe there. They have, and this isn't the first church I've had this situation. Okay. I also had another situation where I did not feel safe at church at Living Word in Brooklyn Park. Okay. I would walk in there, and there would be the security people there, and they would radio each other. Oh, she's walking in now. I would hear them. And they, I believe that they're Masons, and I believe that they are overseeing certain churches, like the security guards of certain churches. And I believe they are dangerous, and I believe they are putting a lot of the Christian congregations in danger. They think that I'm some kind of a threat. I'm just going to church, dude. I'm just going to church, and now, but it's crossed a line when he actually had a weapon in church. Okay. And Raytheon, we know that Erica Kirk's father is head of Raytheon. Okay. And that is what kind of weapon he had, and that's what kind of weapon this guy here had. Okay, I know what they look like. It's a raven's claw made by Raytheon, and they can point it at you, and they can they can cause some kind of damage. I'll try to see what these things are, but Alice has seen them, and she's had them pointed at her, and she told me that's what it was. Okay, it's a Raytheon, a raven's claw device, and they can be these handheld devices. Let's see if I can get an image of what it looks like. It's a mobile version of a U.S. Army electric warfare planning tool. Okay, that's what he had right in church. Okay, and that's what this guy has here at this hotel. And that's what it looked like. Okay, it looks like a little black box. Yep, that's what they had right in church. Okay, and that's what this guy here has locally right at right in this hotel, pointing it at people, and but yet I'm the dangerous person, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay, so we have that. I wanted to clarify that what happened here, and why I've been upset about this church situation. I wasn't doing anything. I haven't done anything to any of these pastors or any of these. I literally am being attacked right in the church. Okay, so if you think that's okay as a Christian, boy, clearly it's not. Okay, so I wanted to point out that there has been some things that have been, I believe, properly addressed, or at least they're fighting, and we have these They were attempting to put in, when I was in Richfield, Minnesota, staying with my friend John, they were attempting to put in these smart cities, and of course this is Omar's district. That Richfield area is Omar's district. It's the Richfield Edina area, okay. And shortly after I was staying there, just for a few months helping my friend John. They were trying to put in all this fiber optics, and it was just like, and it just happened overnight. It was like and they didn't give people proper warning. And I mean, talk about a disaster. Okay, so the fiber optics, if you don't know, the fiber optics are part of the smart city plans that Tim Walz and Omar have, where it's more illegal surveillance. Okay, and so I knew this from different sources. Okay, but on top of it, it wasn't just the fact that we knew this part of it. It was they were so they were doing it so just half-handedly, like they were messing up garage they were messing up people's yards. They were messing up with their paved driveways. They were causing cracks all over the place. They were messing with this gas lines were being. So, I mean, this turned out to be a total disaster. So I believe the local mayors did finally put a stop to it, because finally the construction started stopping. But it wasn't just the fact that we were finding out that it's part of the smart city agenda, more illegal surveillance, but it was the fact that they were so careless about it, and ruining people's driveways and things like that, and causing gas leaks. It's just, so basically the point I'm trying to make is that we have to try to fight things on a local level. And I would recommend, like what the mayors, I believe, fought that and did finally get that. I believe they stopped it at a local level there. So I just, that is some good things that I believe are happening. And then there was this other thing that that they tried to do in and with these data centers. Okay, so right here locally, there's a data center they were trying to put in at the Walmart. Okay, and so there's there's a company called LTI. Okay, I didn't talk to any of them. They were here working on these data centers. Okay, a lot of them were from different states and things like that. Okay, so but I have been I have known about these data centers because I was aware of these other centers called fusion centers that people had been warning me that are actually call centers that are part of CIA operations. And I believe that's what they're trying to do with these Walmart centers as well. I don't believe they are what they say they are. I believe they are more attempts on more illegal surveillance of us. And I believe they are finding this to be true here locally too. So there's a lot of people that were trying to report this, different things. Okay, I'll show the video here, a couple videos. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the blackouts, blackouts coming. Okay, they believe there's links, like a Glenn Beck did a video about it, blackouts. So it's like where these data centers were starting to pop up, there were starting to be blackouts. Okay, so just warning people about that. Okay, and so then there was Okay. So okay, then there was this guy that went in to purchase something at a Walmart, and he just used cash, and then he was being illegally surveilled, or he got something saying, oh, this is, something illegally that knew what he purchased. Okay, so hold on, let me find the videos here. Okay, well, I can do another video about this, but let's see. There was several videos that I pointed out to several people about these. Okay, right here. Yeah, here they are. Okay. Okay, so they're trying to say, here they are. Sorry. Okay, so they're trying to say they're part of first they tried to say they were for streamlining. Okay, streamlining, and then they tried to say they're for weather control. Okay, like they basically keep lying. Like this one video says, Walmart secret weather command. Okay, like
you know that Walmart has meteorologists working 24/7.
They're trying to say, first of all, they're trying to say, oh, it's for streamlining. Now, then there was this video that said, oh no, it's for weather. It's for weather.
And this place was insane. They're literally tracking storms around the planet, from tornadoes in Arkansas to typhoons hitting their...
Okay, so this one they're trying to say that apparently they're trying to say that they're for tracking storms. Okay, so I've been the one that have been exposing years ago how they tried to say those white domes that are called, they call them Doppler radars, are not at all what they say they are. Okay, those are weapons underneath those domes. Okay, we started noticing, and they lied to us. They lied to us about that, so that was a weather thing. Okay, so what makes you think they're not lying about this as well? Okay, there's these white domes. Okay, they had them in Yuma, Arizona. It's a white dome, and I started noticing when I was on the border mission there that I had and I talked to the Border Patrol because I was on that mission for a year and a half. And it seemed like there was some kind of a frequency coming off that device. They said it was a Doppler radar, but it seemed to be some kind of a frequency device, mind control. Okay, then I had a personal experience also driving to California last February where I got hit by something going through Buckley Air Force Base that also had all those white domes. And I was super, super sick by the time I got to California. And I had a show to do, and I had like a super sore throat, and it was like immediately as I was driving through that Buckley Air Force Base, I knew I got hit with something. Those are frequency devices. There's a guy from Canada that lives close to a military base that has all those Doppler looking things there, Mike something, and he's exposing how his brother was murdered by those things. They are weapons underneath there, and they've lied to us about there. They are not Doppler radars. This is not the first time our government would be lying to us, of course. And so they are weapons underneath there. You can look at, they're around every single CIA base has these white looking dome things, and they are not Doppler radars. They are they are weapons that have frequencies and plates underneath them, and they can cause sickness and disease and mind control. Okay, so let's just get that straight. So it's probably not a weather thing. Okay, then they're trying to say another video saying, Global Security Operations Center.
It's kind in the world, and it's officially open at the Walmart home office campus in Bentonville. 5 News anchor Darren Bob.
Okay, then they're trying to say they're Global Security Operations. No, I don't believe. I believe this is all part of illegal surveillance. Okay, it's in they're building them in several Walmarts all over the country, and they're calling them data centers. And I believe it's all part of the illegal surveillance. Okay? So I wanted to warn people. So, the people locally have been warned about these, and I think there's some things going on that in the state of Minnesota finally towards these, because I think there's enough evidence to prove they aren't what they said they are. And so, if you are in a city where you have these type of things that they're trying to put up with, I do believe that these are part of the illegal surveillance, illegal data centers. And I don't believe they are what they say they are. So I would encourage people locally to address it with your local people, so okay, so that's my video today. But yeah, this is to me, this has gone on, this type of harassment, where there's absolutely nobody to report it to. There's no way I can't report anything to the police, because the police are my enemy. They're Masons, and they've proven that they are my enemy. And so clearly they're not safe to report anything to. And nobody feels safe reporting anything to the police in Minnesota. Okay, it's been ever since George Floyd thing, and it's just gone downhill from there. Okay, so, a situation like this, I should be able to report something like this where I feel threatened somewhere. There's nobody to report it to. So there's people that they seem to be able to get away with filing false charges against you or false complaints against you, and they seem to be getting away with it because there's nobody holding them accountable. So, these things have to change, because there's a lot of people in this state that are in unsafe living environments. I've been in an unsafe living environment for years, and I was in an unsafe work environment at Wagner, and I got illegally fired on top of being in an unsafe work environment, where we tried filing a complaint against one of our managers multiple times, who actually people felt in danger by him, and it we felt unsafe. There was multiple people that just kept moving away from his line. He was one of the managers on one of the assembly lines, and everybody kept moving away from him, and he never got fired. So there's situations where we're just completely unsafe. I can't even go to church without feeling safe. Okay, that's pretty much, to me, that's crossing a religious line now, where I think the churches need to be involved. The churches need to be involved. I can't, we can't have these Masons, acting as security, and Masons, that have weapons right in churches, Raytheon devices, hitting Christians with it. That's what happened to me. That is what happened to me at that church. I know what they look like, and I know what it was. Okay, so that's my video for today.